They tell you to pack your kit bags, and you'd know very well, you'd draw your action rations, 50 rounds of ammo and some hand grenades, and as much tea and sugar that you can pack into your bags, and as much toilet paper as you could shove, because after the toilet paper it was just using a leaf from the jungle. And we would be in action for 4.5 months, and we would not have a bath. The only bath you'd have would be when it rained every afternoon in the jungle, and you'd be wet, soaking wet. Or if you crossed a river, we didn't use our tin hats after the first time because they were a damn nuisance. We'd fill if you crossed a river, you'd fill your hat up and you'd toss it over your head, and that would be your bath. And we had a spare pair of socks and a spare pair of trousers and a spare shirt. And we just lived on bully beef and biscuits, and it wasn't much fun. And particularly when you lost a mate. And
That was the worst part of it.
The worst part, although we never ever cried. There was never a tear when you'd bury one of your own blokes. The method of, if a bloke was killed, one of our mates was killed, we all had a half a blanket and a ground sheet, and you'd wrap him in, you'd take off his identity discs, and then a watch or a wallet, anything personal items, then you'd wrap him in the blanket and the ground sheet. And if the padre wasn't there, he could be a long way away, 2 miles away, the officer would say the Lord's Prayer and he'd be buried, and you'd always make a cross and put his number, write his number somehow, carve it in a bit of wood, so that the intelligence section from our battalion would then get that bag of his identity discs, and they'd register and record where he was buried. But there was no tears, because you knew very well it could be you tomorrow, the next day. You just accepted it, that it could happen. One of the men down there that was there today, Keith Norris, big, tall, he's 6'6", white hair. He copped 4 bullets in his lung, and it went down to his stomach, and he grabbed his mate's Tommy gun, and in his words, he dispatched 4 Japanese soldiers that attacked him, and then when the rest of the battalion came up to him, they said, "Come on, you've done enough." He had foam coming out his mouth, his nose, of course his lungs were bubbling, and then he had to walk up and down the Kokoda track for 5 days before he was able to get back to Port Moresby to get help, medical help, and in hospital. Now that's what it was like, the conditions.